Difference is there's no game this weekend, but with our bye week and after 10 weeks in a row of playing football and prepping, it's good to have a break coming up this weekend, but also allowing our guys to heal up. I mean, we've had a number of injuries, but allowing the players to get to close to 100% will be key for us before we finish this our home schedule by playing Utah Tech and having it be our senior game. You know, we want to. I've mentioned this before. We want to win and send them out the right way. And so a lot to play for this next game, but also need to make some improvement. Keep working on fundamentals. Keep working on our scheme and keep teaching our guys technique. So that's going to be the focus, is finding ways to get better during the bye week as well as getting healthy, and then giving them a little bit of time off. But the goal is to get better, and so that's regardless of the outcome of the game. Our job is to keep progressing and keep getting better as a team and keep growing closer together. It's easier to do that when you can confirm it with wins, but I'm really proud of the guys throughout the whole entire 10 weeks, playing hard, sticking together, and loving each other, and keep that progress going. So obviously we wish the record was different, but we're looking forward to extending the season and getting this win. So early start on Utah Tech and getting ready for that game to be bowl eligible next week. So that's the focus. Any questions you guys have?
We'll take first question from Mitch Harper.
Kalani, you mentioned improving the health this week. Just let's start there. Are any of the injuries to Kingsley, Chris Brooks, Wilgard, Tooley, or Mandel, are they season-ending?
Well, in regards of injuries, I think the season-ending stuff, if they are definite season-ending, we'll announce it. But you have to remember that we have a bye week coming up and then another 2 games, and so the chance that they can make it to one of those games, Utah Tech and Stanford, and then also an opportunity to make it to a bowl game. There's a few that may not play the next 2, but will play in the bowl game. So it's not definitely season-ending yet. Maybe when we're getting some information, I'm trying to think of who I'm talking about. We'll be able to tell you more. But as of now, I think the ones we told you are the ones that are out there.
Jared, go ahead.
Kalani, I wanted to ask about conversations that you have with players. We're getting to the end of the season. You have a lot of players that are juniors but might be considering the possibility of going to the NFL or making or leaving the program for other reasons. Do those conversations start now? Have you been having them before? I was just kind of curious what that process is like.
Yeah, during this week, a lot of those conversations will be happening, and so I think there's a good number of players that we have that already have their degree in hand, and some of them will have another year of eligibility, and some of them want to go on to the next level in the NFL possibly, and others are looking for, others already have job offers and are and can move on from there. So it's just a matter of talking to the right people, and then allowing NFL personnel to give their feedback to our guys, and then they can make a decision on what they want to do. So, but I think more than anything, just communicating this week. It's hard to do when you're working through the season, but on this bye week, it's probably a good time to do it. And we have 13 seniors that are going to be out of eligibility, but we have a good number of others that could possibly go to the NFL draft, and others that also have jobs that are already graduated. So. That's happening this week.
Jay and then Jake.
Hey, Kalani, could you lay out your schedule this week? Is it the normal where you go? I think you usually go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then take the weekend off. Or just can you give us some specifics on what the plan is this week?
Yeah, practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, lifting all the days, and then giving time off away from football on Thursday and Friday, even though we'll have the weight room available for our players. And there's a lot of our guys that need to get caught up in academics, especially right now, get caught up and get ready for finals and have their projects done. So trying to get all that stuff done. I think a good number of our players will stay in town and take advantage of the extra lift times, and then also be able to, I think for us to get an early start on Utah Tech and keep focusing on the fundamentals of the game. I think there's always room to improve there. So that's going to go get at it and practice today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and then most of the guys will still be able to stay in town and lift and work out Thursday, Friday.
Kalani, will you use any of that practice time this week in terms of like a developmental period with some of your younger guys?
Yeah, the focus will be a lot on them, and now we're in the moment where the players that are being redshirted could play, and so trying to get them caught up in everything, have a role, whether it's giving some of them a role in defensive depth and allowing them to compete for that, and then also getting them involved in special teams. So that's going to be the primary focus in these 3 practices. Also with the guys that are traveling, the guys that are starting, giving them some. There's some things to still improve on. So we want to make sure that we're still working. You don't get things done by just resting. So the rest will come later. We just keep working.
Mitch and then Jake.
How much of the bye week, Kalani, is focused on recruiting for you and the rest of the coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean recruiting is a everyday thing. So you're always constantly working on developing and even recruiting your own players to giving them the right information. We talked about giving the right information, make sure guys know what's ahead of them, whether they decide to enter the draft now or later. And so in terms of recruiting, you got to recruit your team first, and then you got to be able to work your numbers. We have a good number of players that are gray shirting that have returned from missions, and so we have a good group that are coming in, but also want to make sure that we retain the best as well, and that we give them. I mean, some guys are running on fumes, and this is kind of it for them. They know it, and we want to make sure that let them know how much we value them, but also keep working towards the future as well.
Just to follow up on that, will that consist of a lot of travel for you, or will you primarily just be still on campus and the rest of the staff travels?
Yeah, with the rules in terms of the games to visit and people to see and evaluation times, we've used quite a bit already, but in terms of travel, still up in the air.
Kalani, when it comes to this time period, obviously you guys were sitting at 4 and 5. You get to 5 and 5. I know it's a bit of a hypothetical, but how different does it feel being back at 500 versus potentially being 4 and 6 and having to win 2 final games to go to a bowl?
Oh, I mean, I look at, I put more pressure on myself and on this team than anybody else. So we're worried about going 1-0 every week. That's the goal. So I'm trying to keep it simple, but these guys know what's at stake, and so that this is it's good to get the win, and but more than anything, I think we just keep working. That's a principle that is eternal. Just keep working.
Jared and then Jay.
Kalani, being the bye week, it is time to think about some big picture things. And I know that, we talk about injuries and guys getting hurt. Some guys I know get to the point where they kind of have to hang it up, medically retire just because of, they get so banged up and their bodies can't handle it anymore. I was wondering what that's like for you when you have those circumstances and have to have those conversations with some of those athletes that have put in so much.
Well, I think just communicating and talking to them, and they know that we care about their life, not just as a football player, but their future. And so just giving them all the information that they can see for themselves and feedback, and then us coming to an understanding. It's not us just demanding that they hang it up and retire. I think it's important that they understand that we love them, and that the situation that they're in, there's options to look at, but I think it's important that they feel a little bit of ownership in it as well. So nothing wrong with talking about things and options and the circumstance, situation. I think young people nowadays, they really appreciate that.
Kalani, speaking of two guys kind of like that, Lopini Katoa and Joe Tukuafu, I wonder if you could just tell me what they've meant to the program, guys that have been in the program a long time and really contributed the other day to the win.
Yeah, and you look at the situation that they were in last year, Jay. They were in a position where they could have easily just said, hey, we're done, moving on, and had to consider coming back and playing the last year of eligibility. And I'm thankful that we were able to spend some time with them, and they were able to gather all the information and make a good decision on their side. And we're thankful that they were able to play for us. I love the leadership and their opportunities to just buy in whenever they have a chance and to keep competing. I mean, both those guys mean a lot to this program, and they've been great leaders to us. But all the things that they've done on the field, I know they get judged on that, but there's a little things off the field that they've done to help our team and to love our boys up. Man, they've been great examples on the camaraderie and the brotherhood that these guys feel, the love that they feel for each other, and really, really thankful for both Joe Tukuafu and Lopini Katoa for what they do for this program.
We'll take last question from Mitch Harper.
Kalani, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, you've always said that you grew up a BYU fan, so I'm curious, where do you think that Puka Nacua catch against Boise stacks among the great catches in BYU history from your vantage point?
Oh, man, I might be biased, but Puka's got so many catches that are unbelievable. The people ask me what's different about him. He just practices really hard, and so he makes crazy catches all over the place. And I mean, our wide receivers do that quite often. So I don't. It doesn't surprise me the catches that he makes, but I think there's probably a bunch of catches that we have on film and practice that could outdo that one too. So, but I mean, we have playmakers all over the place. I just thankful that he got that toe in.
Thanks so much, Coach.
All right, guys, take care.
Okay, next up we have John Nelson, and I'm pretty sure he's here, so you can go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question. John, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Great. We will start with a question from Jared.
John, how satisfying was it to have the game that you and the rest of the defensive line was able to have and really make some big plays in the run game and get in the backfield?
It was a lot of fun. It was really sad. It was a big weight lifted off my shoulders just to kind of get back in a groove, all four of us, whoever was on the field, to us to kind of come together as a unit more. It definitely helped us with our chemistry.
Jay, go ahead.
John, I know you grew up a little bit in Boise. What did that win mean to you personally?
It meant a lot. My dad went to Boise State, and I lived in Boise for 6 years, and we were Boise State fans. And I have a lot of family that lives in Boise, and they were pretty much all there, and half of them were wearing BYU hats and Boise State shirts. So it meant the whole world, especially coming out with the win and just the kind of game it was. That's one of my favorite games ever, personally.
Kevin, go ahead.
3 weeks into Kalani calling the defense and kind of taking control there, do you guys feel more settled and comfortable with him now, just after kind of a whirlwind change there? And what do you think the biggest difference that you've noticed is in the last 3 weeks?
I mean, I've always had faith in our coaching, and sometimes we as a team we get in a slump, and after a couple weeks, we kind of all came together as a defense, and I feel like we played one of our better games this week, and it reminded me and some other players that the players are on the field, and we're the ones making the plays, and I know people want to point fingers at coaching, but at the end of the day, we're on the field, and we need to take more ownership of that.
Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, John, you're one of those guys who hasn't been like injured per se, but you've had a lot of sort of colleagues and teammates that have been. And I know just after 10 straight weeks of football, everybody's probably banged up, even maybe wherever you're at. How badly does this team need a bye week right now?
I'd say it came at the right time. It's good to kind of relax a little bit and mentally know that you don't have to, work on Saturday this week. And I feel like it came at a good time, and I think we needed it. And I'm hurting a little bit. Everyone's hurting, so this is a good time to have it.
Any other questions for John before we wrap up? Awesome. Thanks so much, John.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You have one more question if you're good.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not in a hurry.
Perfect. We'll take one last question from Jared.
John, I just wanted to ask, I know this is a time of year when you have the bye week where guys start considering, hey, what's my future like? You got a lot of guys that might choose to leave for one reason or another. What are those conversations like as you kind of get toward the end of the season and have a chance to look around at the boys you've worked so hard with and not know, maybe this is the last time you get to play with those guys?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that, but it brings up the point that we only have 2 more games guaranteed with these guys that we spent so much time with, and I don't know. It's just it makes me cherish these last 2 games and this bowl game we're gonna get into, and just the time that we have left. And you don't really have time to stop and think about it. But some guys have started conversations about if they're staying or not, and obviously you want everybody to stay, but it's their own personal decision. So.
All right. Thanks so much, John.
Yep.
Okay, last up we'll have Braden Cosper. Braden, how's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
Great. We'll start with a question from Jared.
Okay, Braden, take us into the receivers room watching that final touchdown catch. What's that been like for you and the boys to watch Puka make that play?
We haven't been in meetings or anything yet, but I'm sure, like all you guys, we saw it a million times on social media. So, but honestly, that's just a great play. Really tight coverage. Jaron just kind of throws it out there and trusts him to make a play, and he comes down with a crazy catch. So obviously, it's just a Puka play.
How hard is it to do that? You know that to have a guy draped all over you like that and still come up with the football off a tip. Just how hard is it?
I mean, as hard as it looks, it's a super tough play to make, especially when you're getting physical, or the DB's kind of all over you. You got hands on, and you really kind of got just focusing on the ball with everything going on. So, extremely difficult play.
Jay, go ahead.
Hey, Braden, you guys just wondering what your plans are for the bye week, and obviously the Jets have a bye week too. Is there any chance Zach's coming out here and some of the old gangs getting together again?
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. I don't know what his plans are. I'm sure he'll come back, see the family and whatnot. But yeah, I think most of us are excited to get a few days of practice in and then have the weekend to kind of relax. It's a grind for sure. We've been going for I don't know how many straight weeks since August. So yeah, so much needed rest. Would love to see Zach out here. That'd be great. But yeah.
I know it was a short plane ride home, but how would you describe it?
Just lots of good energy this time. I think when you take some tough losses, the plane rides are, you're trying to be positive, but it is tough and they definitely feel longer. But the plane ride home was lots of good energy, a much needed win, and I think everyone just could kind of exhale and enjoy it.
Jake, go ahead.
Braden, you talk about the rest you're going to get this weekend. How gratifying has it been for you personally to have played 10 straight weeks of a season due to some of the injuries you've had in the past, etc.?
It's amazing, man. It's nice to, not be the one sidelined this year. We've had, a few injuries here and there, and it's been a complete blessing to. I'm just grateful to have been able to stay healthy and grind out these games and even the practices. Just grateful for every day that I get to play the game.
You guys are going up against the #1 passing defense in the country in Boise State. Did you, in your heart of hearts, expect to put up almost 400 yards passing in that game?
To be honest, I didn't even know they were the #1 passing defense. The plan was just go out and do our thing, and so I think we've been doing that as a receiver group all year, and then we just went out and did it again. I think we don't read too much into who's doing this and who's doing this well. It's just we're going to go out, we're going to execute. We can't control kind of what the other teams has done or is going to do during the game. So just go out and do our thing.
We'll take last question from Sean.
That's a lot of pressure on me, Kiana. But Braden, I just wanted to get a little bit nerdy with you on some stuff that I don't think a lot of people are necessarily seeing out of the wide receivers. Especially like you and Chase had a couple of really big ones against Boise, and that's the downfield blocking. Like I saw you on that big catch and run by Hinkley, getting downfield and just laying out a guy. How important is kind of that downfield blocking scheme, and what do you guys have to do as receivers to sort of buy into a part of the job that's important but maybe doesn't get like all the praise and the accolades and the viral social media posts and stuff?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. Is I think for us, it's something that we harp on a lot in our room is making a big play a bigger play. And I think you see a lot of the times you see these big plays, but a corner or safety is making the play 20, 25 yards down the field, and people aren't seeing if a receiver is able to make that block, this could be a touchdown. And so I think that's something we harp on big in our room is make the big play a bigger play. So we've all kind of bought into that. And then I think the second thing to that is, I think as an offense and especially in the receiver room, it's about just, loving each other so much. Like if Hinkley's catching the ball out of the backfield or if Puka's catching a bubble, like I don't want my guy to make the play on that, like, because I want Puka to, go get however many yards or a touchdown or wherever he's going to get. So I think it's about loving your teammates as well and sacrificing, the spotlight or a catch for their sake.
Thanks so much, Braden.
Yep, thank you.